then go over the homework ones. We'll go over the answers, any ones you want to do together, and then I'll let you continue to try the homework problems, and then we'll keep going through these notes. For number 1, so we can recall what all of our rules are. What are these bases doing to one another?
Adding and multiplying.
Multiplying. So what would we do to the exponents? Add them. What would our new exponent be?
2.
2. For number 2, do we have like bases, first off?
No.
No. So we're not going to do anything to combine them. But we do have negative exponents all throughout this, so we need to switch these. I don't remember if it was this last time or this. But we know that this would become 3 times 1 over a. So we know that a would move to the denominator. But if you have a negative exponent in your denominator, it moves up to the numerator. So your a and your b are really just going to switch. What does anything to the 0 power give you? 1. So really c is just going to go away. So anytime you have negative exponents in both your numerator and your denominator, really you can just take those bases and switch them. A2c to the 0 is what this one says. Now in this case, do we have like bases? Yes, we have x's, we also have numbers. So let's rearrange this first. Here we are multiplying these bases. If we are multiplying our like bases, what are we doing with the exponents? Adding them. But in this case, we're really subtracting because we have a negative. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. This is really x to the 3rd minus 4. So negative x, 8x to the negative 1. Can we leave this like this?
No.
No. Why not? Because we have a negative exponent. What would this final answer be?
1 over 8 negative 8x.
So the 8 is not part of that negative 1.
What?
The negative 8 doesn't go with the negative 1.
Oh, negative 8 over x.
If we're separating them, yes. It would be negative 8 times 1 over x, but combined at the end would be negative 8 over x. For 4, do we have like bases? Yes. If we are dividing our like bases, what are we doing with the exponents? Subtracting. We also have numbers that we're dividing. So we're going to divide that as well. Leave it as a fraction. What is 5 divided by 20?
1/4.
1/4. Here, we would be subtracting our exponents. Remember, you're always subtracting no matter what. And subtracting these exponents. What is this exponent?
1.
1. Your new exponent for x would be 10. And your new exponent for y? Negative 5. When we combine these, your y is going to move to your denominator. Your x will be in your numerator. So we'll have x to the 10th power over 4y to the 5th. So I did a couple things in that I changed y to the negative 5 to 1 over y to the 5th. Then we combine all of our fractions together. For number 5, anything to the 0 power is what? 1. So this is really 23 times 1, or just 23. Now if 23 and x were both in parentheses and everything was being raised to the 0, this answer would be 1, but that was not the case. For number 6, we are raising exponents to other exponents. What do we end up doing with those exponents? Multiplying. So if there is no exponent, it's 1, so you're multiplying 1 and 3, and 4 and 3. Well, what is 5 to the 3rd power? That'd be 5 times 3.
125.
It's 125. Same thing with 7. We are raising exponents to other exponents. So negative 7 has an exponent of 1. Its new exponent would be 5. If we're multiplying, what would our new exponent be for x? Negative 10. What would our new exponent be for y? Positive 10. What is negative 7 to the 5th power? Use your calculator if you don't know. What did you say? It's a big number. Negative 16,807. 16,807. In this case, we have a negative exponent, so we would need to put that in the denominator. And in this last one, we have like bases, we're dividing, so we need to divide the numbers and subtract the exponents. Negative 28 divided by 7. Negative 4. Here, since we're dividing our exponents, we're dividing our bases, we're subtracting our exponents. Subtracting no matter what. So our new exponents would be negative 10 and negative 4. What would the final answer be?
Negative 4 over x to the 10th power y to the 5th power.
They were both negative, so they would both move to the bottom, or move to the denominator. When we get back from lunch, you'll have time. I'm going to put these up, and you can check yourself. And then when we get back from lunch, we'll go over any, if you want to go over any, and then you'll have time to continue those, and then we'll keep going. I don't know which ones you did, so I just want you to look and check yourselves. I'll box your names so you can see them a little bit better.
Because I'm black.
Oh, no. scrolling back up if you need it.
You have a two by two somewhere in my house, I just forgot where it was.
Just the other half for
Oh, no, because you'll have time in class to check on those. When we come back, I need to see phones in these pockets because I don't see that now. Remember that you should be putting your phone in the pocket when you get in this room. Some days I let you have your phone out when we do shark bites. If you did put your phone back there, you can go ahead and grab it. These problems. This is when you ask questions when you don't understand how to do one.
Yeah, let's go over this.
Jade. 26, 23, I was like, there's not. For 23, I'm just going to walk through what I did. So here, I divided the two numbers. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. And then you have, like bases A and B. If you are subtracting 4 and 0, A's exponent would still be 4. If you're subtracting 1 minus 4, B's new exponent would be -3. Anything to the 0 power is 1. And C doesn't have another base, so C just disappears. B would move to your denominator, and A would move to your numerator. A would be in your numerator. So A to the 4th all over to B to the 3rd. Bishop, do you need your notes?
Oh, right about that.
Any others? Sophia. With 19, I separated these and combined these at the same time. So here I have numbers 1 divided by 5. If your variables weren't there, it would be a 1. When you are dividing, you subtract. So 5 minus 6 gives you -1. -6 minus 5 gives you -11. The two negative exponents move your variables down to your denominator. So it's 1 over 5 times m to the 11. Any others?
I guess the bathroom.
Why don't you go already?
I didn't. I forgot to go.
Sure enough. If you have not done the other 12 or you just wrote down the answers, that's fine if you wrote them down. I do want you to try them. I will still leave this up here so you can see what I did. But I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to just go through these, see how many you could do without just writing down the answer. Right? So these are more of the same type of examples, but now there's a lot more going on. So we just have to be careful, pay attention to what's happening, and remember all of our rules. So for number 1, what do you see happening? What do you say? There's parentheses. What is that doing? What's multiplying? So I heard that there's multiplying, like your variables are multiplying. There's dividing the whole thing. What other operations are happening? So someone said dividing. We will subtract, yes. What are these parentheses doing? With this 2? So not what we will be doing. What is this saying? That was probably a badly worded question. If we go back in those notes, each one was titled something. Which of these titles relates to those parentheses?
Multiplying
We will multiply the exponents because we're raising the exponents to a power. Okay? So when you have a bunch of things going on like this, you need to think about your order of operations. Do what's in the parentheses first. These aren't like bases, so we can't combine them. Then apply your exponents. So we can do something with this exponent now. What operation are we using with these exponents? Multiplying. So we have x to the 6, y to the 8. Multiply or divide. Again, these aren't like bases, but these are. So we could divide. If we're dividing our like bases, what are we doing with the exponents? Subtracting. So I can combine these by subtracting. X to the 4th, y to the 5th. These will simplify and get some simpler answer. Do we have any questions on that one? For number 2, what do you see happening? So I'm going to reword that as we have powers being raised to other powers, or exponents being raised to exponents. What else is happening? We're multiplying. Now, in order of operations, we would do what's in the parentheses first, but these are not like bases, so we need to apply our exponents. What are we doing with these exponents? Multiplying. So we have x to the 6, y to the negative 4, x to the 15th, y to the 12. Now, we've done everything in the parentheses, we've done our exponents, multiply or divide. Here we are multiplying our like bases. What are we going to do with our exponents? Add. So we can combine these by adding the exponents. And then our new exponents would be x to the 21st, y to the 8th. So really our goal here is to simplify these down as much as we can. There are 8 of these problems, so we'll do okay. Let's try number 4. What is happening in number 4? Division. Anything else? Multiplying and raising an exponent to another exponent. So, order of operations, what would we do first? what's in the parentheses, because here we have like bases inside of our parentheses. The other ones didn't have that. So here we can actually divide 6 divided by 2. If we are dividing our like bases, what are we doing with our exponents? Subtracting. And what is our exponent for this y? For this one. What is this exponent?
1.
1. Now, I'm doing this step by step, but if you want to skip this step and just put 3x to negative 2, y to the third, that's fine too. I said negative third, but I meant negative second power. Now, if you are dealing with something like this and you have negative exponents, we still need to apply our exponent, raising a power to a power. So don't worry that we still have negative exponents right now. We'll deal with those. What would we do with this exponent? Multiply. Oh, and I forgot one. Remember to do that to each base. Three squared is 9. This would become 1 over x to the 4th. What would the final answer be? Skylar, can you tap him? Avery, can you tap him? You guys need to wake up. I know it's not the most fun thing in the world, but you need to know it. We've got 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one of these. And then I'm going to let you try some. Let's say we do this one. These are going to work out to be the same thing. For this, we are multiplying, we are raising exponents to exponents. What would be the first thing we would need to do? Multiply what? So multiply your exponents together. So we have 2 to the 4th, x to the 12th, y to the 8th, 4 squared, x to the 6th, y to the 8th. What would we do next? Add the exponents, okay. Except before we do that, I do want to go ahead and apply these two. What is 2 to the 4th? 16. And then 4 squared, 16. So now we can add our exponents and we need to multiply these two numbers. So x to the 12 plus 6, y to the 8 plus 8. What's 16 times 16? 256. Yes.
Can I go to the bathroom?
After Russell gets back. X's new exponent would be 18. Y's new exponent would be 16. If these both happen to be the same base, they were both x, then we could combine them again. But they're not. Alright. I want you to see how many of these you can get done in the next 10 or so minutes. You'll have time next class to continue working on those, but I'm going to give you something else to do. So go ahead and start 3, 5, 7, and 8. As you start those, I'm going to be passing out. For homework, I want you to do this first page of this SOL. Please do not lose this packet. I will be checking this just as I do for any homework. Did you do it? Did you not? But at the end, once we have completed everything, you will be turning this in as a formative grade for correctness. We will be going over these in class, so there's no reason why you shouldn't have every single one correct. Okay? So the very first page, SOL A1 and SOL A2A, I want you to do for homework. You can use each other for help. You can come see me for help. For the rest of class, I want you working on this though. So all of your top questions, all of the top ones are questions or problems that you need to work out. All of the bottom are your answers. You need to find the answer that matches your question, cut it out, glue or tape it on top of whatever the problem is. Make sure your name is on it.
How are you going to know the equation if you...
I know the order, so it's fine. So if your order is not correct, and this is a formative, then you'll get points off. You can work together on this. If you do not finish this, that is additional homework. I don't want you to have 2 homeworks, so use this time wisely.